Senior advisor for President Donald Trump, Jason Miller. Jason, good morning. Great to be back with you.
Good to be with you.
So take me through this. When do you expect the former president to announce who he's running with?
Well, great question. That's what everyone wants to know right now. But some point over this next week, President Trump will name his running mate for 2024. And he has some really good options to pick from. I like all of the prospects who are at the top of the list. And again, Rob, the question is, who, though, will President Trump and his running mate be actually running against?
Yeah, that's a question that we may have an answer to before the end of the week. Does the person who's running with Donald Trump know that they are his running mate at this point?
No, not yet. President Trump is the only person who knows who he is going to pick. I imagine that decision will happen some point between now and next Monday, which is the first day of the Republican convention. Of course, as you look to next week, next Wednesday is when the vice president pick will speak, and the next Thursday is when President Trump will speak. We know President Trump loves to build excitement. Right now, that's where all the energy is people wondering who, in fact, will he pick.
Yeah, and I imagine that everybody's already gotten a speech written just in case Donald Trump does tap them. According to all the reporting right now, the list consists of 39-year-old Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, Florida Senator Marco Rubio, who's actually campaigning with Trump down in Miami today, and North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. Can you confirm for me, are those the final three, or are there other names being considered like Glenn Youngkin or Mike Pompeo that we're not talking about right now for whatever reason?
Great question. And the three names and the three pictures that you just put up on screen are, in fact, folks who are being considered for the position. But I would caution you that there are some others who are still in the mix that are on President Trump's list. And so as we talk about people trying to guess and figure out, again, only one person really is going to know, and that's President Trump. But I do like all the prospects that he's considering.
Is Nikki Haley on the list?
So President Trump, I have not heard him mention her name as far as being someone who's being seriously considered at this point. But as we know with President Trump, he could always surprise us.
Yeah, and he did it in 2016. He chose somebody in Mike Pence from the outside. So we've got the VP speaking next Wednesday. Then Donald Trump himself will address the convention next Thursday, the 18th. Monday and Tuesday, we don't know who the primetime keynote speakers are. Any idea who's going to be speaking on Monday and Tuesday night?
So most likely those names are going to be revealed tomorrow on Wednesday. And again, as we start building up toward the convention, which kicks off on Monday, but I'd imagine you're going to see some folks from President Trump's family. You're going to see a lot of people who are from everyday walks of life, people who are not political figures. People are really going to have interesting stories that tell what we have to do with this country to get back on track, whether it's fixing the economy or securing the border. And much in the same way in 2020 that we found a way to highlight real American stories while the Democrats were all focused purely just on politicians was quite the contrast. And I think we'll do a similar type setup in 2024.
And do you expect Nikki Haley to be in Wisconsin next week at the convention?
Another good question. I have not seen the final list. And so until that is, I can't go and make any news on that front. But I'd say, again, the focus isn't so much going to be about politicians. It's going to be on real people.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Does Donald Trump want to continue to run this race against the guy who he's been preparing for the last 4 years in Joe Biden?
Well, Joe Biden is definitely who we expect to be running against. President Trump said that himself last night and has been. There's really no way for the Democrats to force Joe Biden out. In that first round of voting at the Democrat convention, some 3,700 of the 3,800 regular Democrat delegates are bound to Biden on the first round. And so they're kind of stuck with who they have. The only reason, or only way they could even force him out of the White House is to invoke the 25th Amendment, unless Joe Biden were to voluntarily step aside. As you see from Biden, as you see from Jill Biden, as you see from, I guess, the de facto chief of staff now, Hunter Biden, they don't seem to want to go anywhere.
What do you make of that, Hunter Biden being involved in key meetings at the White House?
Well, I think it shows you just how much this White House has devolved into a cover-up operation. We know that Dr. Kevin O'Connor, who's been signing off and saying that Biden had a perfect bill of health for years, who also was formerly business partners with Jim Biden, if you believe the reporting that's appeared in Politico and other places, this whole thing's been a cover-up. Kamala Harris, Biden's cabinet, quite frankly, everyone in the Democrat establishment, everyone in the media establishment has been covering this up for years. There are questions about Joe Biden's cognitive abilities going back to 2020, 2019, even questions going all the way back to 2008 when he was running for VP, or going back to 1988 when he had the surgery for his brain aneurysms. There have been a lot of questions about Joe Biden's state of mind, and all these folks have been in on the cover-up.